Alright, welcome to the Boyers YouTube channel. Today I'm out on my 2020 KTM 1290 testing a new addition, which is the KTM Power Parts seat. So we'll go ahead and jump into the garage and show how you install it, and then we'll jump back out here onto the bike and see how it's performing and my thoughts, likes, and dislikes. So one of the biggest complaints that my wife has had on the bike is the uncomfortableness of the seat. I personally haven't minded it too much when I'm doing half adventure and half street, but I have also had some complaints while I'm doing long mileage on the road and not having that opportunity to kind of stand up and give my butt a break. So I went ahead and got the Power Parts KTM seat. I also splurged for the heated seat and looking forward to seeing how the benefits. All right, so Mario's over here, and you will notice that my bike is in pieces. We are also installing a Rottweiler air intake, so he's been helping out with me with that today, and we figured might as well go ahead and throw in the seat, and we'll go ahead and talk through the steps of getting the heated seat hooked up.
All right, so we've got our selector knob here, which I'm not going to touch right now. We also have our mounting bracket. And then on the selector knob with the wiring harness, we've got this spin-on nut. So first thing we're going to do is pull this nut off and then put our selector knob in. Now, it'll only go in one way because there's a ridge there, there's a little piece there, there's also flat sides. So you want to make sure that is lined up with the O or 0, which means off. Holding that in place, we're just going to take our spin-on nut with the flat side down, and we're just gonna thread this down into place and get it snug. Once we have that in, now we should have our selection. So for the passenger seat, you have high and low. So you got 1 for low, that's obviously off, 2 for high. So this should work. Next thing we're gonna do, KTM did give us, I don't know what I did with them, 2 little screws. We've got the bracket back here in place from the factory. So now we're going to mount this bracket, and then we'll get to the wiring and all that stuff. So on this back bracket, we've got these 2 self-threading screws. They're a Torx T20 bit. It's going to sit right underneath here, and we're not going to be able to show you, but there's already 2 pre-drilled holes. So all we're going to do is line these up and thread them in to the back mounting plate. So those are the 2 screws that are two holes that are pre-drilled. We're just going to line up this bracket here and get it put into place. So because I can't get my Torx bits on here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove, this is just 10 millimeter. We're gonna take this mounting bracket off for the saddlebag just to get it out of the way, and then we'll pop it back on once we get these screws up here screwed in all the way. All right, so we've got this mounted on. And one thing I did, there is a little screw that sits in here, another Torx T20, because I wanna make this as clean as possible, and I wanna run this down in here. Because I don't want to get it snagged. Also, you may notice Brian does not have his charcoal canister because we have eliminated that, much like we did on my bike, obviously for off-road and race purposes only. So I'm going to put this screw back in here, and then we're going to go to get things plugged up. All right, so now we're ready to get this plugged in. Now you're probably going to have to fish back underneath the bike to find it, but this is the male plug we want. Now before we connect these, we're going to use a little bit of dielectric grease that just seals out dirt and water and those sorts of things, and then they just simply clip together. So with that plugged up, we're just going to tuck this in the back here so it's out of the way. This is going to be the connector for the passenger seat that we're going to plug in. Once again, we'll put a little bit of dielectric grease on there, but we got to assemble a little bit more of the bike, and then obviously we'll come back and show you the seats going on.
A few moments later.
So we got the pilot seat, or the rider seat, whatever you want to call it, and since it is a power one, we're going to plug it in. Just press that connector together, which I always do it from the other side. You guys have put your seats on your bike before. So make sure there's little tabs here on the inside. Get those lined up on these bolts over here. All right, snaps down into place. All right, so with the passenger seat, you've got this elastic under here. I like to keep my cable underneath the elastic. It keeps it from interfering with, the seat release and everything. Same thing again. You snap in the plug. With any luck, looks nice.
It does.
See if it works.
Definitely beefier. All right, so that was a video of us getting on this KTM Power Parts seat. Looking forward to testing it out. Big shout out to Mario. Be sure to head over to his channel and check out all his back in the garage videos. And we'll go ahead and jump onto the bike and talk about how I like this bike. And we'll also get my wife on it and get her opinion on the passenger seat. Alright, so big shout out for Mario for that demonstration of getting the seat on. As you can see, pretty simple. KTM makes the power part seats really plug and play, which really makes it nice as far as the install. So that's our first positive, is the install is super easy. The next positive thing is having kind of a two-piece seat. I do like, now that I got rid of the canister underneath my seat, that I can quickly access anything that I put there, like an air compressor or a toolkit. So it makes it really nice and easy access of just taking off that back piece. Now the big question, I know most people are, it's around the comfort. I've been riding around. This is my second time out on the bike, you know, breaking it in. I immediately noticed when I sat on it that it was more comfortable, a little more plusher, and it does make it a little taller. I noticed that with a bike already being taller, that can be challenging for some. So it does add a little bit to that. So I was torn between upgrading and getting the heated seat. It's not something that I felt like I really needed, but I do enjoy riding when it's colder and all year round. As you can see today, there's some snow out here. I have it on maximum, and it actually feels quite nice. So I think for the colder days, it'll be something that'll be a nice addition. It's not a must-have, especially depending on when you do your riding and the gear you wear. But I'm glad I splurged for it, and I think, you know, the more important part is my wife seems to get colder than me, so I think she'll enjoy having the heated seat. So as I said earlier, the overall comfort and softness and plushness is immediately noticeable. So I'm happy about that. I think on the longer rides, it'll really come into play. The other aspect that I like a lot about the seat, especially with this 1290 power, is the little notch that it has on there. One, it seems to add just a little bit of comfort, and I also don't feel like I'm sliding as much. I think some of the wear on the behind too with this bike is, as you're accelerating, you know, that slight bit of sliding can really wear and give you that monkey butt. So that little notch can make a big difference over the course of a day, especially as you're accelerating out of the turns. So I'll go ahead and put the price point up on the screen. For me, I think it's well worth it. I know there's some other options out there, but I like the fact of having two seats. This seat is something that I'd like to be able to keep for my street rides when I'm sitting down most of the time. And now that I've pushed past that first year, I really want to stretch this off-road and do a little bit more stuff where I might have a higher capability of dropping the bike. So I love still having my stock seat that I'll throw on there for that. That way, if I put a slight tear in it or anything happens, I'm not worried about ruining my nice seat that I'm going to be doing all my touring on. So I like having the two seats now and not having to send my seat off or wait for it. So now I was able to just throw on the new seat, still have my stock one, so if I want to switch back and forth, it's very easy to do so. I know a lot of people will have some other options for seats, or just say you got to tough it out, ride more, but I like my comfort. I like when I'm sitting down to not have that sore butt, especially when you're compounding it multiple days back to back. It was just a feature comfort for me, and something that I know I wanted to upgrade. The other easier sell to buy this is my wife, especially just even, you know, that 150 mile mark, her butt was really starting to hurt. If you think about the passenger, they can't take quite the same breaks as we do, where we can stand on the pegs and just give our behind a little bit of a break, just enough to sit back down and it feel better. For the passenger, they're kind of shifting their weight left and right and just trying to find that nice comfort spot. So any little bit of added comfort for her is going to make a big difference. She sat on it. We haven't gone for any rides due to the weather. I can't get her out here when we got this snow out here. But I think anytime you have the comfort a little bit better for her, it'll extend her mileage, have her enjoy the ride a little bit more, and to me that's the most important. I want her to be comfortable when we're riding. I want her to enjoy it, so she comes out more often. Alright, so I talked about all the things that I liked about it. You know, as far as the negatives, I haven't experienced too many so far. I will say it's not going to be a magic fix where it's all of a sudden, oh wow, I got a seat, I can ride 1,000 miles, no problem, my butt will never hurt. I can do these long miles back-to-back days, my butt will never hurt. It's not magic. It's going to take some time and conditioning and riding. You're gonna have to get that seat time. You're gonna have to condition your butt to really handle those back-to-back or long mileage days. But what it will do immediately is extend whatever you could do before. So if you're able to ride X amount of miles before your butt just gave out, this will extend that significantly and just give you that extra comfort. And as I said earlier, without the sliding, that adds up as well. So there's a couple bonuses there that I think will really help you with the seat. And to me, overall, the price point was well worth it. All right, a big shout out for everyone that tuned into this video. Thanks so much to Two Wheeled Rider for the help with the install. Be sure to head over to his channel and check out all his back in the garage videos. And with that, I will catch you all next time.